Good morning, very good morning to all of you. I hope you are doing good, fit, and fine, energetic, enthusiastic, happy. Yes, good morning, everyone. So, guys, we completed our first lecture of professional ethics. It is complete in simple English, and we saw basic background introduction. We saw section 1, section 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we are through till section number 8. Now moving ahead, we are going to the next part, that is section 9 to 18. Now listen guys, now these sections are not very important. They are not very important. To be very honest, ICAI module has not focused on them, but then I thought these are very important and basic things about the council which a chartered accountant or a CA student should know. So I have covered them. Okay, and you never know the way ICAI sometimes drafts paper, they may get into these things also. Let's see one by one. So we need a governing body which is going to run the show, which is going to run CA Institute and its members. What about the constitution? Council is going to have 32 elected members. So 32 members will come through elections, and 8 members will be nominated by central government. So in totality, Council of ICAI is going to have 40 members. So it's a team of 40 members which take decisions for the whole CA fraternity, for the whole CA profession. That's interesting. What is the term of the council? Government runs for 5 years. What about the council? Council is going to run, council is going to function for 3 years. Tenure is 3 years. Every year in December, not every year, every 3 years in December, Jan, it starts from December. Generally, in the month of December, you will see the elections happening, central council elections happening in December. Then we'll talk about regional councils also. Regional council elections happen. Then the branch elections happen. So the month of December and Jan is generally dedicated for elections in CA fraternity. And that is after the end of the income tax season. So they have selected strategically these months for elections. The tenure continues for 3 years. And then this council selects president and vice president. Their tenure is 1 year. You have president for 1 year and vice president for 1 year, and then it is an unsaid understanding that vice president automatically becomes president. Okay, those are very simple things. 3 years, and when it comes to president and vice president, it is 1 year. Now, what are the functions of the council? So we can divide it in some parts. See, now some functions are very basic and simple and straightforward. Most importantly, they decide the curriculum syllabus. What will be the curriculum syllabus of the CA students, next generation of chartered accountants, what they should study. After course, then they decide about the exams, where there will be, what will be the pattern of the exams, dates of exams, and so on. They think not exactly about the dates, but the pattern of exams and other things. They think about the exams also. Then, after exams, articleship, and after articleship, everything gets over. Entry in members register, then maintaining that register of members, then whether foreign professionals can become member. After getting membership, what are the rules of COP and what is the fees members are supposed to pay for membership and COP, and how restoration will happen. So we can see that this is one part. This is one part, and again, if you have seen, I love the flow. I love logical flow. So I have arranged it in logical flow. First comes curriculum, then comes exam, then comes articleship, then comes membership, registers, then come foreign professionals, then comes COP, then comes fees, then come restoration. Now next part, you can say that if we can divide that, this is the one part of the functions. Maintaining status of the institute. Institute, see, if institute has good name, it has good reputation, automatically members will have good name, good reputation. That's important. So maintenance of status. Now for maintaining status, financial assistance in accounting research. If you want to maintain status, if you want to maintain a good name in the industry, you are supposed to do a lot of research and publish a lot of documents. And let me tell you guys, CA Institute publishes many documents in so many areas, whether it is taxation or law or audit or accountancy, they or practice different types of audit, different types of industry. They issue a lot of research material. So financial assistance in accounting research, then having library for that. So this you can consider this as a second part, maintaining the status. For that, doing accounting, helping in accounting research and the library facility. Apart from that, now you need people who monitor whether the quality work is being done by chartered accountants. So to deal with, to talk with, to coordinate with quality review board, very powerful quality review board, to deal with, to talk to quality review board. We are going to study about this later, and in new course we have a separate unit altogether over quality review. Then understanding their recommendation. Every year quality review comes up with a report, understanding their report, understanding their recommendation. And then those chartered accountants who are doing misconduct, punishing them. So dealing with director discipline, board of discipline, disciplinary committee, and compliance of C Act. So we can have three parts like this. One is in logical sequence from course to restoration of membership. Then it's about all about status. Then it's about quality and disciplinary mechanism. So you can find these three parts. Around 16 functions are there. See, understanding is important, but apart from understanding, you should also know how to remember things. Now we spoke about council, how many members should be there, then what they about their tenure, then president, vice president, their tenure and their functions. Now it's very interesting who cannot contest elections. Just like we have disqualifications for auditor, on the same lines here we have, it's like disqualifications. You cannot run for elections, you cannot become council member. So simply we have grouped, there are 6. See, grouping helps to remember more and more. More you group, it's difficult to remember 6 points. But if we group them 3 points, then it is easy to understand and easy to remember. So we can say that some are time based and some are straight away not allowed. We are going to study about this misconduct under first schedule and misconduct under second schedule. Basically, in CA Act, there are, you all know that at the end of the act, you are going to see schedule. First schedule, second schedule. So you are going to see schedules. Okay. So if you see They are very simple schedules. So in C Act, we have first schedule and second schedule. And these schedules, they give list of acts. If you do these acts, it will be considered misconduct, inappropriate, wrong activity, unethical activity. So they give list, first schedule and second schedule. List which is contained in first schedule is considered comparatively it is small misconduct, and list of second schedule is comparatively a bigger misconduct. So if any chartered accountant is found guilty of the first schedule activity, he cannot contest for election for 3 years. After conviction, he cannot go for the elections for 3 years. And if any chartered accountant is found guilty for activities in the second schedule, he cannot contest elections for next 6 years. Okay. Then person who has been auditor of the council, or not council exactly, auditor of the CA Institute, financial statement of CA Institute, okay, to maintain his independence, and to ensure that there is sufficient distance between auditor and the entity. It is said that person who did the audit, he cannot contest for elections for next 3 years. So as I said, it is time based. Misconduct under first schedule, you are gone for 3 years. Misconduct under second schedule, you are gone for 6 years. You have done audit to maintain independence, to ensure that otherwise auditor can be bribed by giving the position of the council. So that's why they said that auditor cannot contest elections for 3 years. Then few are straight away not allowed. Central government, state government employees, even if they are chartered accountants, they cannot run for elections because we already have government representatives in our council. So we don't need more representatives. Now members who have completed 3 consecutive terms, make place, don't make it a family business. Give room for the new people to come. We live in a democracy. There are so many good people who can lead the institute. Once you complete 3 terms, 3 consecutive terms, that means 9 years, then you are not eligible to go for elections. Past president already achieved the highest position. It won't look good. You contest elections and people say wrong things about you. Again, you cannot go for the elections. So government employees cannot go for the election. Those who have completed 3 consecutive terms cannot go for it, and past president of ICA cannot go for it. So some disqualifications, you can say, they are time based, and some are simply not allowed. Okay. Now the next is, if you're aggrieved by the elections, if you're not happy with how elections have taken place, you feel that cheating is happening, something is wrong, you can go and do complaint within 30 days. Fine. Then that's very interesting. Now we know that who governs the CA Institute, how you become member of the council. Now how can members resign? Of course, they can resign. Council members can resign if there are any problem, they are facing any issues, they can do that. It will be in force once it is printed in official gazette. Council is a very important body because you are head of a organization which is created by law, and ICA is governed by CA Act, its regulations and government directions. So if you're resigning, it will come in force only when it is printed in official gazette. Then there's very interesting concept of deemed removal. The first point talks about the resignation, and the next point it talks about automatically vacating the office. Now, let's see. If very big things happen, I'm going in a particular sequence, very big things happen. If a chartered accountant is removed from the membership, if the person is losing his basic membership, he is automatically removed from the council. If you are no longer a chartered accountant, how can you continue in the council? You will be thrown out of the council. So if a person is removed from the basic CA membership under section 20, we are going to study removal from the members register, then automatically he is out of the council. If the person is guilty of any professional or other misconduct, if he has done professionally anything wrong or he has done other misconduct, we are going to study about this later in this lecture only, automatically removed from the council. Okay, so biggest thing first, and then removed from membership, then misconducts. And if the most important thing of the council is to meet, understand different issues, matters, deliberate upon it, and take very important decisions, and show direction the whole institute and the whole fraternity. If the person remain absent for 3 consecutive meetings, that means the person is not showing any kind of importance to the work of the council. We don't need such members. It will be automatically, his post will get automatically vacated. Then council alone cannot do so many things. Guys, trust me, there's so many activities need to be done. Council alone cannot do so many things, whether it's curriculum, exams, market research, research activities, different areas, dealing with the government, dealing with MCA, tax departments. There's so many things to be done. They cannot do these things alone. So we have committees to help them. Okay, and the committees are divided into two parts. One is standing committee and non-standing committee. Standing committee and non-standing committee. When we talk about standing committee, now what is standing committee? It is mandatory to make these committees for complete functioning. For the complete function of the council, we have executive committee. And the most important part, for secrecy and quality of exams, we have examination committee. And then for managing the funds, we have finance committees. It is mandatory to have these 3 committees for running the institute, looking after day-to-day activities. We have executive committee, exam committee, and finance committee. So see, again it's arranged in sequence. First comes E, so we have executive and exam, then F, finance committee. 3 committees are there. And then in 2007, after Satyam scam, CA Act was amended. And a new committee was introduced, new standing committee. It's mandatory to have them. Disciplinary committee. We are going to study about this again later. Now, when we talk about these first 3 committees, executive committee, examination committee, finance committee, then the president of ICAI automatically becomes member of these committee, ex officio. Ex officio means because of official position, person is going to become member of this committee. Vice president, again ex officio, becomes the member. 3 to 5 members to be elected by council from among its members. The president is chairman, vice president is vice chairman of the standing committees. It's very simple. So president will automatically become ex officio member, vice president will automatically become ex officio member, they will become chairman, vice chairman. Apart from them, 3 to 5 members will be selected amongst the council to assist them. So generally it is said that it depends on who is the president, the kind of papers and kind of results you are going to witness, that generally depends on who is president. Okay, so yeah, it is speculated. I am not saying it has to, but it is speculated. Result percentages are many times influenced by who is sitting in the exam committee. Then non-standing committees, as per requirement, they can constitute these committees. Around 35 committees were there, and it keeps on changing. When it comes to standing committee, only council members can become the members of the standing committee. But when it comes to non-standing committee, council members definitely become the members. But apart from that, so it's like six, suppose 6 council members. Suppose 6 council members were selected for a particular committee. Now the 6 council members can decide and select more members authorized to co-opt. Co-opt means existing members are going to decide who else will become member of the committees. So that's called co-opting. That's called co-opting. But then keep in mind, such co-opted members should not be more than one third of the members of the whole committee. So suppose you have 9 members in totality, so maximum 3 members can be co-opted, one third can be co-opted, other 6 should be from council. So people from council should be in majority in non-standing, not just majority, they should be at least two-third people should come from council. Yes, I got doubt whether president of council is ICAI president. Of course, when we talk about president of council, we're talking about president of ICAI. That's a very interesting piece of information. If you're becoming chartered accountant, you should know these basics. Should know these basics about council and about 2 types of committees which are there, that is standing committee and non-standing committee, and this is sufficient. No need to go in detail, no need to go in more details. Then audit of ICAI, of course, we tell the world that you should get your books of accounts audited. We tell the world that we should get books of accounts audited. So no wonder ICAI should get themselves audited. So it's given in the CA Act that ICAI every year ICAI need to get their books of accounts audited, and for this council is going to make annual appointment of auditor. So it's not like Companies Act that auditor is appointed once in 5 years appointed once in 5 years. No, not like that. Annually auditor will be appointed. Who is qualified? Of it's but obvious. You don't have to guess it. It is but obvious that qualified chartered accountant in practice is going to be and then so qualification CA in practice. What about disqualifications? What about disqualification? Following members cannot become auditors of ICAI. Just to maintain the independence, existing council members, those who run the show, they cannot do audit. There will be conflict of interest. At one point you are running the show and second you are auditing. There are independence issues. You cannot do that. Then the person who has been member in past 4 years, again, he cannot do the audit. So existing member cannot do the audit, and who has been members for past 4 years. So current council members cannot do audit. Past council members of 4 years, they cannot do audit. That's very interesting. So we studied that if you are an auditor, you cannot contest election for 3 years, and when you are a council member, after leaving council, you cannot do audit for 4 years. So both way, they want to keep distance between council members and auditors. Okay. So I got a question that, sir, I want to become president of ICI after becoming CA. How many years are required? Okay. There is no such requirement of number of years. Once you become chartered accountant, get experience of the profession for some years, and then you can start with the branch. First select a branch, fight for branch elections, become branch member, become popular in the branch, then you go for regional council elections, then you go for central council elections, and finally when you into council, you should be influential enough that council votes in your favor. Out of 32 members, correct, you become president if you have support. So you need political, little bit of political interest to get into this. You need a lot of skills, popularity, communication skills to get into all these. Now, council can order special audit if accounts don't show true and fair view. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. If council is not happy with the financial statements, okay, we got the financial statements, they say that it is audited, but we are not happy. We don't think it's giving true and fair view. So that's quite sad that financial statements are not giving true and fair view. They can announce for special audit. Council themselves can announce for special audit. If central government has highlighted no true and fair view, council can order special audit or take appropriate action. So this process can start from central government also. Central government will highlight, see, these are not giving true and fair view, and then council will listen to central government and again order special audit. At the end of the each year, so that was about special audit. At the end of the each year, council should circulate annual accounts 15 in advance of AGM. So we have studied about the audit, then we studied about the special audit. Once audits are over, audited financial statements and complete annual report along with annual accounts should be circulated to all the council members, and it should be done at least 15 days in advance of AGM. Council members meet for AGM, you should meet at least 15 days, you should send it at least 15 days in advance. That was very simple, and very simple, straightforward. That was section 9 to section 18, that about council, and the last one was for audit. Any questions, guys, from your side? We may complete our course in around maybe 7 classes for professional ethics. We are going to cover each and every topic here. If you want to, if you are on Zoom and if you want to talk, you can simply put a message to me. You can talk to me by raising hand also. Nowadays students have different preferences. Some students prefer live lectures, some students prefer recorded lectures. So, and that's fine, I think that's an individual choice. Till the time you are watching lectures regularly, till the time you are watching lectures regularly, your studies are on track, it's absolutely fine whatever mode you select. And I think it changes from student to student. Some students feel that live lectures are extremely important because they maintain consistency. So some students love consistency and they feel that that's how they are going to finish off all the lectures on time. Then some students say that, sir, we are consistent, that's not a problem. We want speed option. We want speed option. We increase the speed and maybe try to cover the lectures in less time. Fine. Now, let's go ahead, guys. Now, next is section 19 and section 20. Again, not now. Now, let's see. Let's see registers. Now, section 19. Again, not that important, but it's simple. CA Institute is supposed to maintain register of members with all the details: name, date of birth, domicile, residential, professional address, date of entry, qualifications, COP status, is it whether person is associate member or fellow member. So all the details need to be maintained, and CA Institute does it beautifully. They maintain proper electronic register with all the details. And in fact, you can go to the CA website. You can go to CA website and you can use the feature find member or access member register. You cannot see the whole register, but you can search a member using membership number. Now my membership number is 130504. If you go to the ICA website, you go to the members list, members register, and put 130504, you're going to get my details. Correct? Limited details, only public details. That's a very important feature. That's how we can understand whether a particular chartered accountant is real or is he fake. Because we are having a lot of fake chartered accountants across India who tend to show everyone that they are chartered accountants. They do practice, but in reality they are not. They forge, misuse signatures of others. But to big extent, this problem is tackled by the new concept. You must have heard about it, that is UDIN. We are going to study about UDIN later on. Now, removal of the name from register. Removal of the name from register. Yes, name will be removed under section 20. Okay, let's see. If something big happens, if you have done something wrong, if you have done professional or other misconduct, or order may be passed against you and you may be removed. You may be removed from the membership. So that's a big thing. Then smaller than that, if you have disqualified under section 8, disqualified under section 8, say you have done anything which is punished, you have done any crime which is considered as moral turpitude, we have seen you may get disqualified. Then if you have not, then smaller than that, you have not paid the fees, again your name can be removed. Yes, this happens. Many times people forget to pay the fees and their name is removed from the membership. But CA Institute gives a lot of time. They intimate members, they give them time. That's it's okay. Pay your membership and retain your name. They bring amnesty schemes also. If someone has not paid membership fees for many years, they will give some discount, only pay this much and get your membership back. Then smaller than that, person may themselves request that remove my name from membership. Yes, this may happen. Someone doesn't want to get governed by CA Act. So there can be people who don't want to get governed by CA Act, and they may say that remove my name. You must have heard about Mr. Harish Salve. He's a very famous advocate. Very, very famous advocate. He is a chartered accountant. He first became chartered accountant, but then his family was into profession. The whole family was advocate. They were into the profession of being lawyers, and he chose that, and he surrendered his membership of chartered accountancy. If the person is dead, then that's understood that his name will be removed from the members register. So that's very interesting to know that if someone dies, name is removed from the membership. That means only name of the people who are alive will be there in the register. So very big thing. Order is passed. Then smaller than that, disqualification under 8. Smaller than that, fees not paid. And then smaller than that, there's a request to remove the name. And smaller than that, the person is dead. Can membership get restored? Can it get restored? Of course, it can get restored. Definitely, restoration can happen. So if membership get cancelled, don't worry, you can apply. CA Institute is going to tell you this is the prescribed form, this is the prescribed fees, this is the form, this is the fees. Just fill up the form, give the details, get the fees, and apply for it, and your membership is going to get restored. Okay? They are going to decide. Now let's see. However, the effective date, from which date, which 2 points, please let me know. They are going to decide from which date things are going to get restored. Things are going to get restored. Application for restoration and requisite fees are made within the same year. Okay. Of removal, restoration shall effect from the date on which it was removed from the register. Suppose, we have discussed this yesterday also, suppose name of the member is removed because of non-payment of the membership fees. Every year till 30th of September, you have to pay membership fees and COP fees. If you don't pay that, then there's a possibility that your name will be removed from the register. Institute has right to do that. If they remove it, don't worry. If before financial year comes to an end, we have seen it yesterday, before financial year comes to an end, if you have paid the fees, correct, then in that case, your membership will again get restored. You will get back the membership from the same date. If you pay within the financial year, it will get restored from the same date. Now that's important. It will get restored from the same date. Now, next we talk about removal of name under the orders of the board, discipline or disciplinary committee or appellate authority. If removal has happened because non-payment of fees, you can restore it anytime you want. Simply pay the fees and get the membership back. If you pay within the financial year, restoration will happen from the same date. If removal has happened because of orders, orders of the board of discipline, discipline committee or high court, it will depend on this order. What order says? If order says restoration can happen after 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, then accordingly it will happen after those many years. In other cases, and if there any other case because of which in any other case you simply suppose you come out of the disqualification, the person was of unsound mind for few years, if you come out of the disqualification, simply send the application, date on which application fees is received, things will get restored. It's very simple, guys. Yes, membership can get cancelled, but don't worry, it will get restored also. That was very simple. Section 19 and section 20. 19 is for maintaining the register, 20 is removal from the register, and then we have regulation for restoration, how to come back in the register. Okay. Now, guys, we are starting with something very interesting. And that is section 21 to 22G, and that's extremely important, very popular in exams. Okay. Now, what do you mean by misconduct? Any activity which is considered wrong, inappropriate, unethical, okay, that is called as misconduct. So you can say that it is an unethical activity. You got doubt also, sir, in second restoration will affect if cancellation is because of non-payment of fees, and if you pay within financial year, restoration happens from the same date, the date it is cancelled. If your name is removed because of orders of BOD, DC, we are going to study about them, High Court, if the authorities have ordered about it, then restoration will happen as per the order, whenever order says. Not from the date it got cancelled. Generally, they will tell that he can reapply after 7 days, or 2 years, or 3 years, or 5 years. So, restoration will happen after those many days. In other cases, whenever the person applies, restoration will happen. The unique feature that restoration will happen from date of cancellation is there only in case of fees. Only in case of fees. I hope you are clear about this. Okay. Now, so activity which is considered unethical, inappropriate, wrong, that's called as misconduct. Misconduct. Now, Institute has given us the list. That these activities will be considered as misconduct. Now they have given us two types of lists: professional misconduct and other misconduct. Now what is that? List of activities which will be considered as misconduct during professional work, during the time when you are performing professional work, professional assignments, they are called professional misconduct. So institute has given list of activities that if these activities are done while performing professional work, while doing professional work, it will be they have named it professional misconduct. So activities which govern your professional work, wrong activities, they are called professional misconduct. See, professional misconduct, list of activities which are considered unethical when performed during the course of profession, while doing the profession, whether while doing practice or job, it is called as, these are called, such kind of misconducts are called professional misconduct. So when you're performing your profession, if you do these activities, it will be considered as misconduct. They are called as professional misconduct. Then we are very interesting. Other misconduct. What is other misconduct? List of the activities considered unethical during the course of profession or personal conduct. Personal conduct, it is called as other misconduct. So let me explain you. Let me give you an example. So when we talk about, so CA Institute has specified that chartered accountant should not do advertisement for their profession. So while performing profession, if someone does advertisement, it is not allowed. It will be considered as professional misconduct. So activities which are specified for your professional misconducts, which are defined and specified for the professional work, they are professional misconducts. Now, activities which are defined, activities which if done, whether during the professional work or during the personal conduct, it will be considered as wrong, then they are other misconduct. So activities which are defined only for the professional work, they are professional misconduct. Activities which are defined for professional as well as personal conduct, then they are called other misconduct. For example, if a chartered accountant, if chartered accountant is punished with imprisonment of 5 years, he has done something wrong, imprisoned for 5 years, then it may be because of professional reasons, it can be because of personal reasons. It will be considered, institute is going to consider is as a misconduct, because it can be related to professional work also, it can be related to the personal conduct also. That's why it's called other misconduct. I hope you are getting the word. It's very simple, straightforward. Lists are specified. These activities done during the professional work, professional misconduct. These activities done which happen maybe during the profession, maybe during the personal, it will be considered as misconduct, then that is other misconduct. I hope this is crystal clear. So we can say that, and why they named it as other misconduct? Because they may be related to the professional work also, they may be related to the personal work also. Correct. We are going to study about this in detail, don't worry. Now, so we spoke about list of activities which are considered unethical. Misconduct is nothing but list of activities which is considered unethical. Governing only professional course, that is professional misconduct. Governing both professional and personal lives, then there it is other misconduct. Where is this list given? Now the question is, where is this list given? So this list is given, list of professional misconduct is defined and given. We are going to study this. Is given in first schedule. Is given in first schedule. First schedule, first three parts. This three parts, in each part you are going to, list is given. First schedule, first three parts defines professional misconduct. Activities considered as unethical during the course of the profession. And second schedule, two parts. So first schedule, first three parts are dedicated for professional misconduct. Second schedule, first two parts are dedicated for professional misconduct. Then other misconduct. So if these activities happen maybe during the professional course or maybe during personal conduct, it will be considered misconduct, that is other misconduct. Now this list is given, first schedule, last part, part 4. First schedule, last part, part 4. Second schedule, second schedule, part 3. Now see, from this you must have understood, the first schedule is having 4 parts. First 3 parts define professional misconduct, last part defines other misconduct. Second schedule is having only 3 parts. First 2 dedicated for professional misconduct and last one dedicated for other misconduct. So from this you can understand that last part is dedicated for other misconduct and only one part is dedicated for other misconduct. That means our CA Act is going to see more of our professional life rather than our personal life. It's clearly understood, their focus, and that should be. Chartered accountancy is a profession and they should focus on the professional lives, professional work, and that's they have done. So more importance is given to professional misconduct and less importance is given to other misconduct. That doesn't mean you're not going to get questions. In exam you're going to get questions on both. Now, apart from that, section 22 explains, so that list of activities are specified for professional misconduct and other misconduct. But section 22 says that apart from what is defined, if CA Institute feels that chartered accountant has done something very wrong, inappropriate, they can term any such activity which is very bad for the society, they can term it as other misconduct. That means institute can increase the list of other misconduct. So apart from what is defined in the first schedule and second schedule, institute can go and investigate any circumstances what chartered accountant has done, and if they feel he has done grossly something wrong, very wrong, they can declare that this activity will be considered as other misconduct and he will be punished for that. And so he will be punished for that, and that activity will be henceforth will be considered as other misconduct. And this has happened in past. In past, many activities were considered bad and declared other misconduct, and the list of other misconduct, has been increasing since then. Okay, so we are going to study very interesting things which chartered accountants have done. Further, we are going to study about who is director discipline. You can, right now you can simply understand director discipline is one of the authority, and that will be sufficient, that will be enough. Director discipline is one of the authority. Director discipline can inquire into any other circumstances other than what is defined in the schedule, and they can investigate it, and if required they can declare it as other misconduct and punish the person and increase the list of other misconduct. Past decided cases act as guidance what can be covered here. We are going to see past decided cases which were declared as other misconduct and added to the list of other misconduct. So it's very simple that list of other misconduct can keep increasing. So chartered accountant should be careful. We should be careful. They should be sensible. Don't do something grossly wrong so that you are punished. Now in past we'll see what chartered accountants did and why things were declared as other misconduct. So section 22 gives power to go beyond what is defined, and section 21 explains the process. Section 21 explains the process. Section 22 explains the power. So whenever we discuss about other misconduct, we know that list of other misconduct can keep increasing, and these two sections are important, so always refer them, that other misconducts are declared as per section 21 and as per section 22. Now again guys, there is a list, and you know that, see, understanding concept is one thing which is very important. It's very important that you remember those concepts also. It's extremely important to remember those concepts. Okay, so how to remember these concepts? It's very simple. It's very simple. I have made a very small way of remembering it. See, secret of memory is to associate things with something you already know. That's one of the secret of memorization. One of the secret of memorization. Okay, so now we have now ABCD is something which we can never forget. So what I have done, I have created shortcut out of ABCD, EFG. It may sound funny. It may sound extremely funny, but then this is very effective. ABCD, EFG. Let's understand. Let's see. A for anger. If any chartered accountant, this happened in past and it was declared other misconduct, chartered accountant got angry, and in anger he used objectionable, derogatory, abusive language, insane comments. If a chartered accountant makes objectionable, derogatory, abusive language, insane comments comments about anyone, now that's very bad. That's very bad. You're bringing bad name to yourself. You're bringing bad name to the whole institute. And that was decided as other misconduct. Again in anger, chartered accountant published advertisement with malified, bad intention to destroy, to hamper the image of any person. So if you're doing this thing, again that's bad. You're trying to destroy image of a person with malified intention, correct? you're giving wrong information, the way of presenting information is incorrect. If that is the case, again it is a other misconduct. Then A for article. Now, that's very interesting. Many of you are going to jump from your seats. If you are using services of article for running other occupation or business, so instead of, if you are using services of article, efforts of article, not in the CA profession, but in other occupation or business. So it has happened that services of article were used for farming, agriculture. He was asked to go and do farming because his article. Now that's extremely insane. It was declared, it was decided as other misconduct. Have you ever done other than professional work for your offices, for your bosses, for your principals? Come on, tell me, guys. What things you have done? I have done pickup. So you have worked, you have done pickup, you have done pickup service, pickup principal, family members from, and drop them to other location. Okay. So you have done the pickup service. Fine. That is, you can call it okay, immaterial. So you have spent maybe 1 hour or half an hour to 1 hour in that. That's fine. But if it's a regular thing, then I will say that it's really bad. You cannot ask your article to regularly pick up and drop family members. This is not for what you are there. Once in a while, there's a genuine problem, you're helping your principal, that's absolutely fine. So, students have shared with me that we were supposed to do grocery shopping for boss. That's if it's done regularly, it's bad. We are supposed to uh, we are supposed to supposed to take tuitions for the children of the principal on regular basis. Now again, that's bad. Okay, so that is so bad. If you are supposed to do grocery shopping or pick up drop services, and if you're supposed to take care of their businesses, go and sit in the shops, again that's bad. Again, that is bad. Then cleaning office, tea supply in office. I think it's fine. As a member of the office, if supposed to take care of, if you're supposed to take care of your table, I will say that's absolutely fine. But if you're supposed to clean the whole office, I won't say it's good. Make name of son of principal. Who came now? I didn't understand what you want to say. Okay, giving names. Uh, so principal asked for suggestion. How should I name my son? How should I name my son? Okay, okay. Now that's interesting. Many times articles are supposed to uh, write names of the guests on marriage invitations and other invitations. So if it's once in a while, it's okay. You are having relationship with the principal, you can help. If it's happening regularly, that's not okay. That's not okay. If possible, get politely convey this message or get transfer from such office. You are not there to do other activities. You are there to learn, understand, and do CA related work. Okay, so guys, come to other misconduct. A for anger. So in anger, if such comments are done, other misconduct. In anger, advertisements are published to malign the name, other misconduct. If article is used for other business or occupation, it's other misconduct. Then B for bank. Bogus bills. We all know bank audit, so chartered accountant went for bank audit and submitted a lot of lot of fake duplicate bills, bogus bills to claim expenses during the bank audit. That's bad, extremely bad. And it was done at a big quantum, big level it was done. It was considered as very bad thing, other misconduct. Then C for client. C for client. And two things are related to fees. Two things are related to fees. If you use coercion, if you use force, if chartered accountant intimidates client that if you don't pay me fees, I will qualify your report, I will disclose confidential information or anything like this. If you are pressurizing the client for fees, that's not allowed. You request it, talk professionally. You cannot pressurize client for fees. You cannot do coercion. If the coercion is done, it is other misconduct. You cannot retain books of accounts for non-payment of fees. Very interesting, very important. So I'm getting a comment that CA Act should be taught at CA inter level also. It should be taught at CA inter level also, so that articles know their rights. What are their rights? It's a very good suggestion. It's a very good suggestion. I will definitely put it to Board of Studies. Then bring some part of CA Act. Bring some part. At least bring the part which is related to articles. Which is related to articles in CA inter. So 2 points are related to fees. If chartered accountant does coercion to recover the fees, misuses his power and status, other misconduct. If he is retaining books of accounts, not allowed. Cannot retain books of accounts for non-payment of fees. If someone is not paying you fees, send reminders to the person, go for the legal action, go and file a case against him and recover your fees. But you cannot do unprofessional things. You cannot go for coercion. You cannot send goons that go and recover the fees. You cannot do that. You cannot go and retain all the books of accounts. That is not allowed. So 2 points are related to fees. Then the next point is that is related to loan. Chartered accountant, auditor are having good position. They are in influential position. They are powerful. They talk to owners. They have right to report, and people read their reports. So they are in powerful position. So chartered accountants, auditors are in powerful position. If they are misusing their position, their powers, and putting pressure on the banks or financial institution to give loans to their friends and relatives or to someone, that's again bad. You are using your position, your status, your power so that a particular loan is approved. That is a misuse of the professional powers you are having. That's highly unprofessional. It was declared as other misconduct. If you do unethical things for fees, other misconduct. If you do unethical things to approve the loan, again it will be other misconduct. If you're doing unethical things with client for fees, for extracting fees from him or for getting loan from him, it is considered as other misconduct. So A for anger and article, B for bank, bogus bills, C for client, extracting fees from him, extracting loan from him, considered as other misconduct. Now next is deceiving, lying, misleading. So 2 points are related to company. 2 points are related to company, and 1 point is related to the own office. Now, let's understand. A chartered accountant goes to a company and manipulates the minute book. Manipulates the minute book. That's very interesting. Manipulates the minute book. So he deletes what was decided and puts something which is incorrect, fake, just to fulfill, so that he gets more money, just to ensure that his benefits are taken care of. That's a wrong thing. If chartered accountant goes and manipulates minutes, it's like a fraud. It is misleading everyone. It was considered other misconduct. Then giving fake documents to the client, claiming that they're issued by ROC or authority. If you go to the client, manipulate minutes, it is other misconduct. You give fake documents that these documents are received from our regulatory authorities, again other misconduct. Okay. So if you're doing these activities at company, these two activities, other misconduct. And if you're sitting in your own office and you have started a new business altogether, you are issuing fake experience certificate to other people. Someone comes and says that I want 1 year experience certificate, take it. I want 2 year experience certificate, take it. I want 3 year experience certificate, take it. You are giving a fake experience certificate to people and maybe charging money from them. For 1 year 1000, for 2 year 2000, for 3 year 3000. If you're doing such activities in your own office, you're issuing fake experience certificates, you're deceiving public, deceiving society, other misconduct. You're coming home and forging the will. You didn't like the will, so you destroyed the original will, you made a new will, and then you forged the signatures. If you're faking signature of someone else, that's called forging. You forged the signatures, you forged the document, will, that was considered very bad. So at home, you're doing all these things. Extremely bad. It was declared as other misconduct. So if you're deceiving at company, other misconduct. Deceiving in your own office, other misconduct. Deceiving at home, it is again other misconduct. A for anger article, B for bank, bogus bill, C for clients, extracting fees and loans, D for deceiving, deceiving at company, deceiving at own office, deceiving at home. Then next is you are misbehaving with the employer. You are doing wrong things with the employer. If you're submitting fake experience certificate, fake experience, if you're giving fake experience at the time of joining job, you're giving fake experience certificate, you're faking how much experience you have, that's so bad. It is so bad. It was declared as other misconduct. Then once appointed, you are extremely negligent in the way you work. Sometimes you forget laptop somewhere, sometimes you forget important document, you forget to talk to people, you forget to do follow with the customers, you forget the deadline, you don't submit report, certificate. If you're gross negligent, if in job you're gross negligent, it was declared other misconduct. Then so if you're doing these two things with employer, fraud. Then misconduct, then fraud. See, again, these are groupings. There are some which are related to the A, anger, an article, B, bank audits, bogus bills, C for client, 2 point of fees and 1 for loan, Then again, so these are simply groupings. We are grouping the whole thing because in exams you get the question, you may get exact question, is this a misconduct? And you have to remember that yes, this was covered in the list, it is other misconduct. And sometimes they ask the whole list, give us instances or examples, give us instances or examples of other misconduct. So sometimes that is done. Now, fraud. Now that's bad. People who are sitting at the top of CA Institute, if central council member, regional council member, branch members misappropriate, misappropriate means steal. If they steal money from ICI funds for the personal purpose, for personal usage, that is very bad, that's extremely bad. That has happened in past, it will be considered as other misconduct. Other misconduct. Okay. Then then a chartered accountant was running a NBFC. He was the managing director. People showed a lot of faith on this particular chartered accountant. And he issued checks. He issued checks. People believed on him, showed trust on him. But then when these checks were deposited in the banks, they bounced because of lack of funds. That means he simply fooled. He simply fooled the depositors. He simply fooled the people. He gave the checks without having sufficient funds in his account. That was a lot of bad name to the institute. It was considered as other misconduct. So if you're doing fraud and stealing money of the institute, other misconduct, you are, and this very important case has been asked in exams. If you are being part of the NBFCs and your checks are getting bounced, again very bad. In this case, even the Negotiable Instrument Act will get applicable. Negotiable, if the check bounces, then Negotiable Instrument Act gets applicable. This activity is considered as unlawful and person will be punished. He can be imprisoned if the check bounces. You must have studied this in Negotiable Instrument Act. So you have to give that reference also. And so it's a big list, guys. It's a big list. Then comes the government. Authorities wants to talk to you. They want answers from you. They want to reach you. So they are asking questions, but a chartered accountant is not replying. If you're not replying to the public authorities, it's considered bad. Other misconduct. So authorities are calling you, asking for information, you're not giving it to them. Other misconduct. If you have unauthorized possession of government records. Unauthorized possession of the government records. Unauthorized possession of the government records. So when authorities were calling you, you didn't go. When authorities came and this happened, they saw some confidential government document regarding their future plans, policies, which should not have been there with him. That means you are stealing information from government. It was declared other misconduct. And let me tell you guys, this has happened practically a lot of times. Some chartered accountants, they pay bribes to the government officers, extract confidential information, what governments are planning, what they are going to do, and supply it to the businessman. If you're doing this work, other misconduct. Unauthorized possession. So, you're dealing with government in a wrong way, not replying, other misconduct. You're stealing information from them, other misconduct. Then you're writing a book on tax for secret income. Authored book on tax for secret income, black money. How to generate black money. That is so bad. You're in the profession of chartered accountancy and you're openly you are saying how to make black money, how to have secret incomes, how not to pay taxes, it was considered bad. There's a monetary loss to the government. You're looting government, monetary loss to the government. If there's a monetary loss to the government, it will not be considered as good. It was declared as other misconduct. You're promoting black money, other misconduct. Filing two returns, that was possible before when manual system was filing two returns, claiming tax exemption two times. Again, you are taking more exemptions. There's a loot. You want to take money from the government. It was declared other misconduct. Fabricated challans. So refund order came in the name of the client, but you forged the documents. It came in the name of the client. You used the documents of the client to open a fake account in a bank. And encashed the check which is received from the government. So you are eating money of the client. Again, refunds from the government, they are misappropriated. Other misconduct. Guys, I understand there's a big list, there's a huge list. Let me quickly revise. A for anger, that is about the comments, about the advertisement. A for article, about the misuse of the services of article. B for bank audit, bogus bills. C for extracting fees from coercion or retaining books of accounts or extracting loan by the force. Deceiving, doing deceiving activity at company, manipulating minutes, giving fake documents at own office by giving fake experience certificate in personal life, forging will of relative. Then is for employer, giving fake experience certificate information, then working gross negligently, then frauds, stealing money from ICS, and then stealing money in NBFC, giving the checks which are going to bounce. Then lastly, government, you are looting government, book on black money, two returns, and then fabricating the challans. Fabricated challans were used and deposited in a fake account to withdraw the money. Guys, let's take a break. We have just seen a big list of other misconduct.